There comes a time in every journey when the soul feels worn thin, when the weight is too heavy and hope seems to dangle by the thinnest thread. When the night feels endless, when the storm shows no sign of breaking, we ask in quiet desperation, God, are you still here? He never speaks without intention. And when your world seems to fall apart, when clarity fades, when doors close, when everything familiar crumbles, hear this truth. God is not punishing you. He is positioning you before every breakthrough. There is often a breaking. He allows the discomfort, the disruption, the shaking not to harm you, but to separate you from what cannot follow you into your next season. The delay is not his denial, it's his divine alignment. When you are stretched, when heaven feels silent, when you wonder if God has turned away, that's often the very moment he's wrapping you closer than ever before. The silence is not distance, it's preparation, because what comes next will require the kind of faith that is forged in fire and the kind of strength that only grows in stillness. Before God releases abundance, he often tests your faith in scarcity. He watches to see if you trust him when you have nothing, so he can bless you with more than you imagined. Many complain when the pressure increases, but the pressure is proof that God is working beneath the surface. Just like a seed must be buried in darkness before it can break the soil and rise toward the sun, your spirit must endure pressure before it can rise into purpose. When the pressure intensifies, it's not the end, it's the beginning of something greater. God is not finished with you. He's just getting started. And one of the first signs that God is about to bring breakthrough is isolation. He separates you from certain people. He removes the distractions. He quiets the noise around you. You may feel lonely, but you're not alone. God is calling you to himself. He is preparing you in private before revealing you in public. Some people were never meant to go with you into your destiny. So don't cry when they walk away. Don't beg them to stay. God removes who he must to protect the promise he placed within you. Let them go. God has already seen what's coming, and he knows they cannot handle what he's about to do in your life. Another sign that God is near a breakthrough is spiritual agitation. You begin to feel restless. Things that used to satisfy you no longer do. You begin to crave more meaning, more depth, more purpose. That's not anxiety. That's not dissatisfaction. That is the Spirit of God stirring your soul. You are being awakened from spiritual slumber. God is pulling you into a new season, and he is making you uncomfortable in the old one. Pay attention to the unease. That discomfort is divine. It is the signal that God is shifting the atmosphere around you, tearing down old mindsets and building new strength within you. Sometimes before a breakthrough, all hell breaks loose in your life. The attacks increase, the stress mounts, the people you thought you could trust turn against you. It feels like the enemy is winning, but hear me, the enemy only fights what he fears. If your life is under attack, it's because your breakthrough is close. The closer you are to what God has for you, the louder the opposition becomes. He builds your character. He stretches your patience. And when you are finally ready, he releases the blessing. And it won't be something small. It will be exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask or think. But the weight is the weight of glory settling over your life. Carry it with faith. Do not ignore the stirring in your soul. When God starts exposing truth around you, people you trusted may reveal their true colors. Opportunities may collapse. What looked perfect might fall apart. But what breaks down was never built on God's foundation. When He brings the truth to light, it is because He is clearing the path for what's real, what's right, and what's rooted in His will. Let truth sting if it must, because it will set you free. Before breakthrough, God always brings exposure, not to hurt you, but to heal you, to show you what you couldn't see before. Trust Him in the revealing. And oh, how often before breakthrough, your faith will be tested, not in comfort, but in chaos. Will you still believe when nothing makes sense? Will you still praise when the pain is heavy? Will you still obey when you don't understand? That's when real faith is born. Not in the light, but in the dark. That's where trust is forged. In the fire, not on the mountaintop. If you're in the fire right now, don't panic. God is with you in the flames. He will not let you be consumed. You are not being punished. You are being purified. The enemy wants you to believe that because it's hard, God is distant. But that is a lie. Hard seasons are often holy seasons. Painful moments are often prophetic. When everything seems against you, that's often when God is the closest. When doors open that should have stayed shut. When resources show up out of nowhere. When strangers bless you and opportunities appear without your effort, that is God's fingerprint on your situation. He is making a way where there was no way. Do not doubt the favor of God just because it looks unfamiliar. The unfamiliar is often the unfamiliar hand of God, leading you to places you could not reach on your own. Trust Him even when it's new. Trust Him when it's different. Because where He is leading you, no man can block it. No enemy can stop it, and no weapon can prosper against it. Even your tears are a sign. Every tear you've cried, every silent scream, every prayer uttered through trembling lips. God has collected everyone. He has not ignored your cries. He has not turned away. Those tears have watered the seeds of your breakthrough. Do not think they were wasted. They were offerings. They were sacrifices of faith. And in due time you shall reap if you faint not. God is not unjust to forget your labor, your faithfulness, your long night. The reward is coming. The shift is coming. The release is near. And just when you feel weakest, just when you think you cannot endure another moment, that's when it happens. The breakthrough. The moment everything shifts. The moment the burden lifts. The moment God opens the floodgates and blessings pour that you don't have room to contain. But you had to pass through the fire. You had to walk through the storm. You had to endure the silence, because only then could you carry the weight of the glory that is about to fall on your life. And when the breakthrough comes, it will come in a way that leaves no doubt. It was God and God alone. Not luck, not coincidence, not connections, but divine intervention that overturned every obstacle, silenced every critic, and elevated you beyond what anyone thought possible. Because God does not just bless in moderation, He blesses in overflow. He does not just answer prayers, He exceeds them. He does not simply open doors, He shatters gates of bronze and breaks through bars of iron. That's the kind of God you serve, a God who waits until the odds are against you so that when victory arrives, only He can receive the glory. But there's something deeper you must understand. Before a breakthrough, God will test your obedience. Not in grand gestures, but in the small, quiet decisions. Will you still pray when you feel unheard? Will you still give when you feel empty? Will you still be kind when others are cruel? That is the furnace where trust is refined. God watches what you do in private before he rewards you in public. He watches how you steward the little before he grants you much. And those who are faithful in little are entrusted with much, not because they are perfect, but because they trusted him in the shadows. And let me tell you, God often allows chaos right before clarity. Confusion might rise, plans might fall through, and the familiar might vanish. But all of it is part of divine construction. Sometimes God allows everything around you to collapse so he can rebuild your life his way, not yours. You prayed for elevation, but elevation requires excavation. He has to remove the wrong foundations, the pride, the fear, the dependence on others, so that when he builds you up, no storm can tear you down. God does not deal in temporary fixes. He is after total transformation. Another powerful sign that a breakthrough is near is when you start losing interest in things that once entertained you. What once excited you now feels empty. What once pleased your flesh now grieves your spirit. That is not depression. That is spiritual awakening. That is God detaching you from what is beneath your calling. He is making room for what's holy. He is replacing surface-level pleasures with deep wells of purpose. He is changing your appetite because your destiny requires a stronger diet. You can't feast on the empty and expect to walk in power. So when your desires shift, don't resist it. That's God cultivating your hunger for higher things. And sometimes right before the breakthrough, you'll face a test of your identity. The enemy will whisper lies, telling you that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not chosen. But those are not your thoughts. Those are fiery arrows aimed at your destiny. When you feel like quitting the most, that's when God is closest. That's when he's testing. If you'll believe what he said over what you feel. Remember, your feelings are temporary, but God's word over your life is eternal. If he said he would deliver, he will. If he said he would provide, he will. If he said he would restore, he will. Let every man be a liar, but let God remain true. And I must warn you, before your breakthrough, your patience will be tested to its very limits. The weight will feel unbearable. You'll look around and see others receiving their blessings while you feel stuck. But listen closely. Comparison is the thief of gratitude. What God has for you cannot be rushed, and it cannot be stolen. What's coming is tailor-made for you. It's not delayed. It's in process. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. Trust God's timing. He is never early and never late. And while you wait, worship. Worship even if you don't feel like it. Because worship is warfare. Worship confuses the enemy. Worship invites the power of God to your situation. God will often send a sudden increase in resistance before your major breakthrough. Everything becomes harder. Your energy feels drained. Your dreams feel distant. The pressure feels unbearable. But pressure is a prophecy. It's the signal that you are about to birth something great. A mother experiences the most pain, not in the early stages of pregnancy, but right before the baby is born. That final push is the hardest, but it's also the most necessary. You are closer than you think. Don't give up. Push through. God is about to bring forth what you've carried in secret for so long. And hear this truth. God will never give you a blessing that you are not ready to protect. That's why the preparation season feels lonely. That's why it feels like no one understands, because God is not only preparing the blessing for you, he is preparing you for the blessing. If he gave it to you too soon, it would slip through your fingers. But now, after all the pressings, all the prunings, all the humblings, you are ready. You've been trained in silence, forged in the fire, molded by hardship. And when the breakthrough arrives, you will not only receive it, you will know how to guard it, preserve it, and multiply it. And don't be surprised when God begins to give you dreams and visions that don't make sense to anyone else. He's giving you glimpses of where you're going, not where you are. Hold on to those dreams. Even if others laugh, even if others doubt, God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you. Your vision is not a delusion, and it's a divine instruction. Speak it over your life. Declare it in prayer. Walk in it even when there's no evidence, because the evidence comes after the obedience. God does not give dreams to tease you. He gives them to prepare you. Stay faithful to what He showed you. And there's something you need to know about breakthrough. It often begins with a breakdown. God will allow what's false to fall apart. He will let the imitation collapse because He wants to replace it with what is authentic. Don't mourn what God removes. What you lost was never going to take you where you're going. God doesn't subtract unless He plans to multiply. And when He rebuilds, it will be better, stronger, more rooted, and more blessed. Let the breaking come. Let the shaking come. It's not the end. It's the beginning of your rise. And then there's the quiet moment, the stillness before the shift, when everything seems paused, no movement, no answer, no sign. And yet that is when God is working most intensely. Just like seeds are planted in silence and babies grow in the womb unseen. The work of God in your spirit is often hidden before it's revealed. Don't mistake quietness as abandonment. Don't mistake stillness for absence. God is doing what only He can do in the background, behind the scenes, beyond your understanding. And when it manifests, it will be sudden, it will be overwhelming, and it will be undeniably from God. So if you feel like you're hanging by a thread, hold on. If you feel forgotten, press forward. If the burden feels unbearable, cry out, but don't quit. You are standing on the edge of breakthrough. The signs are there. The stirring is there. The shift is near. And when it comes, it will make sense why it took so long, why it was so hard, and why it had to happen this way. Because God is not just giving you what you prayed for. He's giving you more than you imagine. And do not overlook this. Before the breakthrough, God will often isolate you. He will pull you away from the crowds, from distractions, from unnecessary noise. He will remove people who no longer serve your purpose, even those you thought would be with you forever. It is not punishment. It is positioning. God cannot elevate you while you're still clinging to what's beneath your calling. He will take you to the wilderness where it's just you and Him, so your ears can finally hear His voice clearly, so your heart can finally beat in rhythm with His will. You may feel lonely, but you're never alone. God does His deepest work in solitude, and when that silence surrounds you, do not fear it. That is when you are being drawn into deeper intimacy with God. He is quieting the world so your soul can listen. He is silencing distraction so your spirit can awaken. Many people run from that silence, but those who embrace it will find hidden strength. They will find clarity. The world cannot offer peace that logic cannot explain, and direction that only comes from the Creator of all things. When God begins to still everything around you, it's not to abandon you. It's to reveal what only stillness can reveal. Another undeniable sign that God is preparing a breakthrough is when your heart becomes restless with your current environment. You start feeling like you no longer belong in the places you once settled. You outgrow the conversations, the habits, the comforts. This restlessness is sacred. It is divine discomfort. God is stirring your spirit because He is getting ready to transition you. He is closing chapters so He can write new ones. That inner agitation is the evidence that your current space is too small for the next version of who God is calling you to be. Don't try to fit where you no longer belong. Let God uproot you and plant you in fertile soil. And yes, with every great shift there comes opposition. When you are on the brink of breakthrough, you will encounter increased spiritual resistance. Things will come against you with greater intensity, but do not be alarmed. This is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of advancement. The enemy does not attack what isn't a threat. If you're under attack, it means your destiny is causing tremors in the spirit, and the same God who protected you before will defend you again. God does not call you to fight in your own strength. He clothes you in spiritual armor. He surrounds you with divine power, and he goes before you as a consuming fire. Victory is not a possibility. It is a guarantee when God is with you. And when the breakthrough is close, you will begin to see things differently. What once made you anxious no longer shakes you. What once intimidated you no longer controls you. That shift in perspective is divine. God is enlarging your vision. He's giving you eyes to see beyond your current struggle and into the realm of purpose. He's helping you understand that the trial wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to train you. And now with new eyes, you begin to thank God for what you once cried about. You begin to praise him for the things you didn't understand at the time, because hindsight becomes holy when viewed through faith. And sometimes right before the breakthrough, God will allow you to confront your deepest fears. He will bring you face to face with what you've been avoiding, not to shame you, but to set you free. You cannot walk into new territory while being chained by old fears. God will not allow you to take bondage into a place of blessing, so he will bring it to the surface. He will make you deal with it, because he's not just interested in changing your life. He wants to transform your heart. He wants to make you fearless, not reckless but unshakable, grounded, rooted in the confidence that when God is for you, nothing can truly be against you. And as you near the moment of breakthrough, you will experience a supernatural alignment. Things begin to fall into place in ways you could never orchestrate. People start entering your life with purpose. Doors begin to open effortlessly. What once felt blocked now becomes accessible. That's not chance. That's God. That's divine orchestration. That's his hand moving behind the scenes, lining up every detail, making all things work together for your good. You may not have seen the process, but you will witness the product. And when it all comes together, you will know it was not by your might, not by your power, but by the Spirit and will of God. And don't underestimate this sign. When gratitude rises unexplainably in your soul, even though your situation hasn't changed yet, know that your spirit is already walking in the blessing. Gratitude before the breakthrough is faith at its highest form. It's saying, God, I don't see it yet, but I trust you completely. Gratitude is the bridge between the now and the not yet. It invites the supernatural into the natural. So praise him not because of what you have, but because of who he is. And finally, when your breakthrough arrives, you will feel the weight lift. You will breathe again. You will smile without force. You will walk with clarity, confidence, and calm, because the same God who walked you through the fire will walk you into favor. And all those tears, they weren't wasted. All those prayers, they weren't ignored. All those nights of doubt, God heard every cry, collected every tear, strengthened every weak place. And now you will know him, not only as the one who comforts in trouble, but as the one who delivers with power. God doesn't just write stories, he writes testimonies. And your testimony is being written through every delay, every detour, every disappointment. Do not lose heart. The signs are clear, the process is sacred, and the promise is sure. Hold on to God with all that you have. Speak his truth over your life. Walk in his promises, because what's ahead is greater than what's behind. And your breakthrough is not a maybe. It is a certainty when your trust is fully in him. The time is near. The signs are undeniable. The breakthrough is coming. God has already prepared it, and nothing can stop it. And I say to you now, when the breakthrough comes, it will not just change your surroundings, it will transform your soul. Because what God desires most is not simply to rearrange your situation, but to awaken your spirit. The breakthrough is not about the material, it is about the eternal. God is preparing something far deeper than relief. He is preparing revelation. He is opening your eyes to see what you were blind to before, clearing the fog of confusion with the light of divine understanding. And once you see with the eyes of the Spirit, you will never see the world the same way again. God will also show you that the pain had purpose. Every delay was divine. Every no was protection. Every closed door was his mercy in disguise. You see, we often cry over doors that God slammed shut because we did not yet see the destruction behind them. But God in his perfect wisdom saw the traps we could not, saw the betrayals we were blind to, and he shielded us. Yes, even through heartbreak, even through unanswered prayers. Because he is not only the giver of good things, he is the preserver of your destiny. And when your spirit begins to mature, you'll realize that the breakthrough isn't always loud. It isn't always grand. Sometimes it comes quietly, like the breaking of dawn, subtle but powerful. Sometimes it's not the storm that moves, but your ability to stand in it. Sometimes the chains don't fall off instantly, but your mind is freed first. That is still breakthrough. God doesn't always change the environment. Sometimes he changes you. And because you are different, everything around you must respond. And when your heart becomes fully aligned with the will of God, you'll understand that breakthrough is not something you chase. It's something you attract through obedience and unwavering trust. You may even begin to notice that people who once fit into your life begin to drift away. That's not always betrayal. It is refinement. God will strip away the voices that were blocking his voice. He will remove those who were sent to distract, to delay, to divide. And though it may hurt at first, you'll thank God later, because not everyone can walk with you into the new season. Some people were only assigned to the former chapter. Let them go. Let the pruning come, because when God prunes, it's only to make you bear more fruit. Another sign that a breakthrough is at hand is when God begins to stir an unexplainable boldness within you. Suddenly, what used to intimidate you no longer holds power. You begin to speak with authority, pray with fire, move with confidence, not because you are strong, but because you know who stands with you. That inner fire, that inner surge of strength is not from the world, it is from God. And when you stand on the other side of it all, you will look back not with regret, but with reverence. You will say, had it not been for the pain, I would not have seen his power. Had it not been for the waiting, I would not have known his voice. So if you are in the season of pressing, if you are surrounded by signs that seem confusing, chaotic, or contrary, Lift your head, because God is not the author of confusion. He is the author of transformation. The confusion is not a sign that He has abandoned you. It is a sign that He is shifting you, moving things, breaking things, healing things. And when the dust settles, you will stand in a new place, a higher place, a place marked not by your striving, but by His sovereign hand. Keep praying even when the words come slow. Keep believing even when the evidence looks thin. Keep praising even when the room feels empty. Because it is in those moments that faith grows roots. It is in those moments that God leans in close, not to test your strength, but to pour out His own. And when that breakthrough bursts forth, it will not just change your life. It will declare to the world that God was in every detail. And let it be known, when the time appointed by God arrives, no man, no system, no force in the heavens or on earth can prevent what He has ordained. What God declares shall come to pass. And when God says now, even the walls of impossibility tremble. Mountains that stood tall for years crumble in moments. Burdens that felt like boulders are lifted like feathers. What seemed delayed was never denied. It was being perfect. God's timing is not slow. It is sovereign. And those who wait upon Him, those who do not grow weary in the night, will soar when the morning breaks. Before a major breakthrough, God may bring you to a place where you must confront the truth about yourself, not for shame, but for elevation. For God cannot fill a vessel that is already full of pride, ego, self-sufficiency. So He empties you, not to abandon you, but to prepare you. The hollow places in your soul are not weaknesses. They are chambers waiting for God's wisdom, His peace, His direction. He brings you to humility, because it is in humility that power is born. He breaks you open so that His light may shine through the cracks. The wound becomes the window where glory is revealed. And in this divine process you may begin to feel misunderstood even by those closest to you. They may not see the fire God is igniting in your spirit. They may question your silence, your decisions, your detachment. But do not lower yourself to be understood by those who were never meant to walk in your shoes. God often births greatness in hidden places, in secret, away from the noise. He cultivates purpose in the shadows so that when He finally brings it to light, no one can claim they made it happen. God will shake everything that is unstable. He will shake relationships that are not rooted in truth. He will shake foundations that were built on human plans, not to destroy you, but to fortify you. Because when He builds to last. When He blesses, it cannot be uprooted. So don't fear the shaking. It is a sign that God is removing the counterfeit to make room for the authentic. The temporary is being displaced so the eternal can take root. God is not just preparing a breakthrough for you. He is preparing you for the breakthrough. He is developing character that can carry the blessing. He is stretching your faith so it can hold the weight of what is coming. If He gave it to you too soon, it would crush you. But because He loves you, He waits until you are ready. Not just in your desire, but in your discipline. Not just in your prayer, but in your preparation. When God sees that your foundation is strong, then and only then will He release what He has stored up for you. And sometimes the breakthrough doesn't look like what you imagined. You prayed for a door to open and God gave you the strength to build your own. You asked for escape and God gave you endurance. You begged for peace and He gave you power in the storm. This too is breakthrough, for God's ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are not limited to our understanding. If he doesn't answer how you expect it, it's because he's doing better than you expect. Trust him. Not just when the answer is yes, but even when the answer is wait. And when your eyes begin to open, you will realize how much God has been protecting you. How many times he blocked things you never knew were threats. He preserved your mind while the enemy tried to corrupt it. He shielded your path when snares were laid before you. He assigned angels where your physical strength was not enough. He spoke through whispers in your spirit, leading you away from destruction, pulling you toward purpose. And every time you obeyed, even without understanding, you aligned yourself with a higher plan. That's the beauty of God's presence. It leads, it guards, it delivers. So if you are weary, take heart. If you are tired of waiting, take courage. God has not forgotten you. The very fact that you are still standing, still seeking, still praying is proof that God is not done. And when you least expect it, suddenly it will happen. Suddenly the burden will lift. Suddenly the resources will arrive. Suddenly the right voice will speak. Not by your doing but by the hand of God. And it will be undeniable. You won't need to convince anyone. The transformation will speak for itself. And let this sink deep into your soul. When God does it, it will be done so completely, so thoroughly, that you will no longer remember the struggle with sorrow, but with sacred reverence. You will say, it was necessary. Every tear, every trial, every test, it was all part of God's design, and others will see you not just for who you are, but for what you endured. Your life will become a living testament that God does not forsake those who wait on him, that he honors those who remain faithful, that he lifts up those who trust even when they cannot trace him. God is building. God is aligning. God is about to reveal what he has been working on in the secret place. And when it comes forth, it will be perfect. Not because it is without flaw, but because it is in the exact form God intended for your purpose, your calling, and your future. So now, my beloved, I leave you with this truth that burns with divine fire. If you are standing on the edge of despair, if the weight of life feels unbearable, if silence surrounds you like a storm with no end, know this, you are closer than you've ever been. Closer to the moment God reveals why it had to be this way. Closer to the unfolding of what your pain has been preparing. Closer to the divine breakthrough that will not only lift you, but awaken something eternal in you. What you're carrying is not ordinary. It is sacred. What you're fighting through is not punishment. It is preparation. What you're waiting on is not lost. It is being perfectly arranged by the one who holds time and eternity in his hands. Now is the moment to stand firm in your faith. Now is the hour to stop doubting, to stop shrinking, to stop rehearsing the past. Let go of the fear that has changed your decisions. Let go of the guilt that has silenced your prayers. Let go of the people who cannot go with you where God is leading. God has brought you too far for you to live in the shadows of your former self. You are not here to survive. You are here to fulfill a purpose written by the hand of God before you ever took your first breath. And that purpose is greater than your past, stronger than your pain, and more beautiful than anything you've imagined. Search your heart. Cleanse it of anything that dims your connection to God. Make space for him not just in your schedule but in your soul. Let your thoughts be guarded by his wisdom. Let your steps be directed by his signs. Let your words carry the weight of truth. For in every moment of your day, God is speaking. In every challenge, he is shaping. In every delay, he is working. And if you dare to live fully surrendered, fully trusting, fully grounded in God's plan. You will walk not just in breakthrough, but in divine power. And I say to you with all the urgency of a soul that has tasted the goodness of God, wake up, rise up, shake the dust off your spirit. The time of hiding is over. The time of shrinking is done. You were not created to live in fear. You are not formed by the hands of the eternal, just to blend in, give up, or fade away. You were called to walk in power, clarity, and holy purpose. You are called to become a vessel of light in a world drowning in shadow. And that light is not from you. It is from God burning through you like a fire that cannot be quenched. Lift your head, square your shoulders, speak the truth, even if your voice trembles. Pray like heaven is listening, because it is. Move as if God is behind you, because He is. And when the next storm rises, do not ask, why me? Ask, what is God building through this? Because if He allowed it, He intends to use it. If He let it touch you, He plans to bless you through it. There is no battle wasted. There is no tear unseen. There is no waiting unnoticed. He is strategic. And when it all aligns, the very pain that tried to destroy you will bow before the purpose that now defines you. Go forward with boldness, not in your strength, but in God's. Speak with authority, not from ego, but from divine conviction. Love deeper, forgive quicker, walk humbly, keep your eyes on God. Let Him be your guide, your fortress, your everything. Do not look to man for validation. Do not seek applause from those who cannot see the vision. All that you are, all that you will become, rests in God's hand. I mean, He never fails. He never falters. He never lies. He is not moved by circumstances. He moves circumstances, and He is about to do a new thing in your life. So live with expectation, live with purity, live with complete surrender. Let your life preach a quiet, unwavering truth. When you place your trust fully in God, you lack nothing. And as you wait, not in frustration, but in faith, worship like it's already finished. Because in the realm of heaven, it is already finished. The door's already opening, the chains already breaking, the way already cleared. So walk in that assurance. Stand in the fire with your head held high. And never forget, when God is the one who lifts you, no force on earth can tear you down. Let your life become a declaration that no matter what storms rage, no matter what ground shakes, your faith will remain steady. That through every breath, every step, every beat of your heart, you will move boldly in the direction of His whisper. Because where God leads, victory is not optional, it is inevitable. And where God dwells, nothing is impossible. So live ready, live trusting, live as one who knows. The best is yet to be revealed. My dear friends, hear me now. Not with your ears, but with your soul. Because I speak this with fire, in my spirit and thunder in my bones. Be ready. God's greatest opportunity for your life isn't distant. It's not years away. It's near, closer than you think, already forming behind the veil. This is not the moment to sleep. This is not the hour for hesitation or half-hearted faith. This is the season to sharpen your discernment, to purify your motives, to align your life with heaven's rhythm. Because when God moves, He moves suddenly, and only the prepared will hear the whisper. Only the watchful will see the sign. Some of you have been pressing in, praying, fasting, crying in the quiet, enduring the waiting, wondering when the heavens will open. You've walked through deserts, tasted sorrow, sat in silence, but your faith has not died. And I came to tell you this, not by emotion, but by divine conviction. The silence was not rejection, it was preparation. The delay was not abandonment, it was divine alignment. What lies ahead if you are ready? will make your past pain look like a shadow compared to the light that's about to break in. But listen carefully. God does not place destiny in the hands of those still clutching the past. He does not pour out power into vessels cracked with fear. Let go. Let go of the fear that keeps you small. Let go of the identity the world tried to assign you. Let go of the opinions that chained you. Let go of the lies you've worn like armor. Because God is not offering you scraps, He's preparing you for a banquet. But if your spirit is still chasing shadows, how will you sit at His table? This is the time. This is the hour. Rise, prepare, believe. Because the door's about to open and only those ready will walk through. There is a stirring taking place in the unseen. There is a movement in the heavenlies that eyes cannot see and ears cannot hear. It is the orchestration of your destiny. It is God aligning moments, conversations, encounters, even delays to collide at the perfect time and unleash what He has stored for you. But you must be prepared. You must live like you expect it. You must walk like the opportunity is already here. Your preparation is your demonstration of faith. God is not moved by lip service. He is moved by spiritual posture. You know why many people miss what God sends? Because they're looking for it in the wrong form. They want the opportunity to come as applause, as comfort, as convenience. But sometimes God sends the greatest doors hidden behind adversity. He disguises the blessing in burden. He wraps the opportunity in discipline. And only those with eyes of faith will see beyond the disguise. You cannot wait to feel ready. You must trust that God's sense is higher than your logic. You may be thinking, but I'm not qualified. Let me tell you something with boldness. God never asks for your qualifications. He only asks for your availability. He lifts the humble. He strengthens the weak. He crowns the faithful. Your background doesn't scare Him. Your age doesn't limit Him. Your scars don't disqualify you. God is not choosing the most popular. He's choosing the most prepared. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but those whose hearts are anchored, whose minds are sober, and whose spirits are awake. You don't need the world's approval when you have God's direction. You don't need man's applause when you are standing under God's assignment. But hear me well, an assignment comes with a cost. God doesn't raise up warriors in the palace. He trains them in the wilderness. He builds their character through rejection. He teaches patience through delay. He strengthens faith through battles. And when the appointed time comes, He unveils the prepared soul to a world that had counted them out. So you must ask yourself today, are you prepared for what you've been praying for? Have you been faithful with what's in your hand? Or have you buried your gifts in fear? Have you wasted time comparing, complaining, compromising? Or have you been sharpening your character, increasing your discipline, deepening your prayer? Because opportunity will always expose the prepared and the unprepared. And when God opens a door, He expects you to walk through it and not wander around it in confusion. God does not owe you another warning. He does not owe you another sign. He's already spoken. He's already stirred your heart. He's already whispered in the quiet moments of your doubt. And now the season is shifting. The wind is changing direction. Those who discern the times will rise with the current. Those who stay stuck in the past will miss the wave. God is calling you out, not just to survive, but to step into the divine purpose you were born for. This opportunity is not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about comfort. It's about alignment with God's plan. It's about being the right vessel in the right moment for the right reason. Some of you are being prepared to influence nations. Others are being shaped to restore families. Some are being molded to speak truth in dark places. This is bigger than you. This is not about making a name for yourself. It's about lifting up the purpose God placed in your bones before the world knew your name. Stop waiting for people to believe in you. Stop waiting for the feelings to align. Faith is not about feeling, it's about focus, and your focus must now be laser sharp. Eliminate distractions. Purge the noise. Walk away from what weakens your spirit. God is not going to send his greatest opportunity into a life that is cluttered with confusion and compromise. He is looking for those who are clean in conscience, steady in spirit, and fierce in faith. You are standing on the edge of something you've never seen. But if you're still chained to what you've always known, you'll sabotage the door before it opens. But can your current mindset handle it? Will your old habits destroy what God is trying to build? This is why God delays, not to punish you, but to prepare you. He is kind enough to wait until your soul is fortified. Your spirit is trained, your character is anchored. You cannot beg for rain and then complain about the storm. Sometimes God answers prayers in packages that require work, patience, and endurance. And only those who have learned to trust him in obscurity will be trusted with visibility. He will not put power in the hands of those who crave attention. He will not pour wisdom into hearts that chase validation. You must be emptied of ego, purged of pride, and filled with purpose. Some of you are surrounded by noise, by doubters, by distractions, by unnecessary drama, and God is trying to get your attention. He's stripping away what you thought you needed so you can finally see what truly matters. He's removing people, places, and patterns that keep you stuck. Because what's coming is holy. What's coming is sacred, and it cannot be contaminated by what's unclean. If you want to walk into the next chapter, you must be willing to shut the door on the old one. You've been through too much to give up now. You've cried too many tears to stop now. You've survived what should have destroyed you. And you think God did all that just to leave you here. No. He preserved you for a reason. He kept your mind when it was under attack. He covered your name when they tried to destroy it. He sustained your spirit when the enemy came in like a flood. And now is the time to rise, to stand, to step forward in readiness. But readiness is not passive, it's active. This is the time for sacred courage, the kind that walks into the unknown, fully trusting that if God is behind it, no man can stop it. Your preparation proves your faith. Every quiet decision you make in secret is a seed for the harvest you will walk into. Every time you say no to temptation, every time you push through resistance, every time you keep going when nobody claps, God sees it. God honors it. And at the right time, he will reward it. You do not need to announce your preparation. Stay low. Stay focused. Let the results speak. Because when God elevates, no one can question the journey. Some of you are expecting God to show up in the same way he did before. But God is not in the business of repetition. He's in the business of transformation. And he's not bringing back the old version of your blessing. He's creating a new thing. But can you perceive it? Can you stretch your faith beyond familiarity? Can you believe in the unseen enough to prepare like it's already done? There are divine connections on their way. Because something sacred is coming, something weighty, something that will require all of you. Your mind, your will, your faith, your obedience. This is not the time to get lazy. This is not the time to drift. This is the time to lock in, to wake up, to move with urgency. Because when God says it's time, no one can delay it. But you must be ready when it arrives. God doesn't need a crowd to confirm your calling. He needs your heart to be aligned. He's not measuring you by the world's standards. He's measuring your faith, your humility, your endurance. And when the opportunity comes, it will demand everything you prepared in secret. So don't despise the waiting. Don't rush the process. Stay faithful. Stay focused. Stay ready. Because God's biggest opportunity is not just coming. It's almost here. God is not looking for the loudest voice in the room. He is searching for the purest heart. The world celebrates noise, but God responds to truth. And if your heart is anchored in Him, if your motives are refined by obedience, if your desires are stripped of pride, then you are already being positioned for what's next. God does not operate by earthly calendars. He is not restricted by clocks or deadlines. When He speaks a thing, it must come to pass. But He will not release it until the vessel is fully surrendered. So I urge you now, search your soul, examine every corner of your life. Where are you holding on to things God told you to release? What burdens are you still carrying that God already offered to lift? The cocoon may seem like a prison to the caterpillar, but it is the birthing place of the wings. And some of you are in that cocoon now. The darkness is not your end, it's your womb. God is forming something within you that will soon emerge and soar if you stay in position. Don't underestimate small obedience. Don't belittle quiet preparation. God sees it. God honors it. What the world overlooks, God magnifies. What others laugh at, God breathes life into. Remember, when God decides to raise someone, He does it without permission from the crowd. He doesn't check the opinions of others before exalting a soul that has humbled itself. So do not seek validation, seek purification. Do not chase popularity, chase presence. Because God's opportunity does not flow through the hands of man. It comes straight from the throne of power. If you want to walk in the greatness God has ordained, you must learn how to remain faithful in the unseen. Faithfulness is not proven on platform. It is forged in silence. In the hours where nobody is watching, in the moments where you say no to what your flesh craves and yes to what your spirit needs, that's where preparation happens. That's where spiritual roots dig deep. And when the storm comes, and it will, you won't be shaken because you've been built on solid ground. God is not preparing you for a temporary blessing. He is building within you a foundation that can host the eternal. What is coming will not only affect your life, it will touch generations after you. The words you speak, the habits you build, the choices you make, they are forming a legacy. And when God sends this opportunity, it will not just be a reward. It will be a responsibility, a calling to rise higher, a demand to live with intentionality and righteousness. The enemy knows what's coming. That is why the pressure has increased. That is why distractions have multiplied. That is why your mind has been under attack, your peace disturbed, your faith tested. It is not random. It is because the opportunity that God is preparing will change everything. And if the enemy can get you to quit now, to compromise now, to grow weary now, he can rob you of what was always meant to be yours. But you must not faint. You must not fold. You must remember that God finishes what he starts. This is the moment to dig deep into discipline. Fast when no one is watching. Pray when you don't feel like it. Study wisdom like your life depends on it, because it does. Keep your eyes fixed above, not on what is trending, not on who's ahead, not on what the world says is successful. You are not being prepared for temporary recognition. You are being prepared for eternal significance. And that kind of opportunity is reserved only for those who walk in reverence. Be aware, too, that when the opportunity comes, it may not look like what you imagine. It may come wrapped in challenge. It may demand sacrifice. But therein lies the divine test. Will you recognize God's hand when it arrives without glamour? Will you say yes when the reward isn't immediate, but the purpose is unmistakable? Those who are truly prepared are not seeking ease. They are seeking alignment. They are not chasing applause, they are chasing obedience. That is the kind of heart God can trust with something great. God will often whisper before he thunders. He will test you in the quiet before he elevates you in the public. You must treat the hidden seasons with as much honor as the visible ones, because your conduct in the shadows determines the weight you can carry in the light. Do not despise the days of preparation. Do not wish them away. Cherish them. Steward them, use them, because when the hour comes you will look back and realize that every moment in the waiting room was a lesson. Every delay was a divine setup. And every battle was a classroom for strength. I speak now to the one who feels like giving up. Don't. Not now. You are too close. You've endured too much. You have come too far. What God has been building is almost ready. But it needs a ready soul. And that means you must finish what you started. Don't just start praying. Build a life of prayer. Don't just start seeking. Make seeking God your lifestyle. Don't just expect a miracle. Prepare your spirit to receive it. Faith without preparation is fantasy. But when faith meets preparation, destiny is born. There is a wave of divine opportunity coming to those who have remained steadfast. God is about to shift people into positions they didn't even apply for. He's about to open doors you didn't knock on. He's about to bring connections you didn't chase. Not because you earned it, but because you endured, not because of your popularity, but because of your purity. And when it happens, you will not boast. You will bow. You will lift your hands not in pride but in praise, because you will know it was God, only God, always God. Let your heart be found ready. Let your thoughts be anchored. Let your motives be cleansed. Let your words be seasoned. Let your hands be diligent. Let your eyes stay lifted, for what God is bringing is too great to treat casually, too holy to walk into with a half-hearted life. This is not the time for lukewarm decisions. This is the time for fiery commitment. This is the moment to draw the line and say, no more compromise, no more delay, no more excuses. I am ready, because when the heavens move they do not wait. When God declares it is time, he does not consult your comfort. He invites your obedience. He calls your faith to rise, and the only ones who will step into the promise are the ones who prepared like it was already theirs. They walked like it was already done. They praised in advance. They obeyed without understanding. And when the curtain lifts, they will not be surprised. And because their spirit saw it coming long before the world did. Be among those souls. Be among the ready. Be among the unwavering. Be among those who refuse to bow, to fear, to doubt, to fatigue. Be found faithful, because God's opportunity, his greatest release, is closer than it has ever been. And when it comes, only the prepared will rise to meet it. If only you could see what God is orchestrating behind the scenes, you would never waste another moment in fear. If your eyes could pierce the veil that separates time from, you would see angels dispatched on your behalf. You would see mountains being moved that once stood immovable. You would see the divine puzzle coming together in perfect sequence. Though every piece once looked out of place, God is not stalling. He is setting the stage for divine unveiling. And what's coming will make every tear worth it, every prayer sacred, and every lonely moment a testament of faith. But here's the truth. God doesn't prepare opportunities for those who simply desire greatness. He prepares them for those who have disciplined themselves for it. Desire alone is not preparation. They will taste a reward that no man can fabricate. God is calling a remnant, a refined people, a purified vessel. And if you are hearing this now, it is because God is summoning you to prepare for something higher than comfort, deeper than ambition, and greater than anything this world could ever offer. And what is coming will not be handed to you in a golden box. It will be disguised as hard choices. It will test your priorities. It will ask you to walk away from what is good so you can embrace what is God. Some doors must be shut before the right one opens. Some relationships must be released before the right people enter. Some habits must die before the real fruit of purpose can live. You cannot walk into a holy season with unholy pattern. You cannot host the sacred while clinging to the superficial. God does not dwell where idols remain. This is not just about favor. It is about formation. It's about who you're becoming in the process. God is not merely blessing your hands. He's transforming your heart. Because if the heart is not right, the blessing will become a burden. If the character is not firm, the opportunity will crumble. And so in His mercy, God withholds until you are ready. Not because He's cruel, but because He's a wise father who doesn't give a sword to a child, not yet trained to wield it. So embrace the process. Because He knows that the opportunity He is preparing has eternal weight. It's not a passing season, it's a divine mandate. And when it comes, you must be found stable, unshakable, immovable in faith. Many cry out for the door to open. Few prepare for what's on the other side. But the one who prepares with diligence will not be caught off guard when God calls them forward. They will stand ready. They will walk in fully clothed in wisdom, wrapped in integrity, and filled with the authority of one who has walked with God in secret. Do not envy those who rise quickly, for when the winds blow, only those with roots deep in God will remain standing. Now is the time to silence every voice that does not echo the voice of God. Turn down the noise of comparison, of distraction, of worldly ambition. Tune your ears to the sound of divine instruction. God is speaking now more clearly than ever before, not through thunder, but through stillness. Are you listening? Are you positioning your soul in such a way that God can trust you with His secrets? Because to whom much is given, much will be required, and the weight of what's coming will demand more than surface-level faith. You cannot afford to live on borrowed conviction. You cannot rely on yesterday's oil. God is calling you to draw from a fresh well, to ignite a fire that cannot be quenched by external storms. Your intimacy with God must become your fortress. Your discipline must become your daily bread. Your purpose must be more than a concept. It must become your compass, because when the opportunity arrives, you won't have time to prepare. You will only have time to respond, and how you respond will be shaped by what you've been doing now before the doors open. If you've been building in secret, you'll be ready to rise in public. If you've been fasting when others were feasting, you'll have strength when others are fainting. If you've been sowing in tears, you will reap in joy. God is faithful to honor preparation. He is just in rewarding obedience, and He is merciful in keeping us in waiting until we are fully ready. So do not despise the waiting. Do not rush what God is perfecting. Every second is sacred. Every moment is measured. God does not waste your pain. He does not ignore your hunger. He does not overlook your efforts. He is storing it all in the vault of divine timing. And when the appointed hour comes, it will come suddenly, swiftly, and without warning. Chase after the things of God with holy fire. Burn with desire for righteousness. Cry out for wisdom like silver. Build your days around obedience. Surround yourself with those who sharpen your purpose. Speak only what lifts. Walk only where peace leads. And give yourself fully to the process God is using to prepare you. Because your next chapter is not just about you. It's about everyone attached to your obedience. The door God is preparing is not ordinary. It's not seasonal. It's supernatural. It will redeem wasted years. It will restore what was lost. It will multiply what was once meager, but it will only remain open for those who are aligned with His will. It will not bow to pride. It will not open to disobedience. And it will not remain for those who hesitate and doubt. You must walk through it with conviction, with boldness, and with the assurance that God has gone before you. So press in, press on. Refuse to settle, refuse to compromise, refuse to give your soul to temporary pleasures when eternity is knocking at your door. Keep your hands clean. Keep your spirit soft. Keep your heart lifted, because when God breathes, dead things live. When God speaks, doors open. When God moves, nothing can stop it. And when that moment comes, and it will, you want to be able to say, I was ready. And if you are not ready yet, then get ready, because the greatest opportunity of your life is on the horizon. Not born from man's systems or schemes, but delivered straight from the throne of God. God does not speak in confusion. He speaks in clarity. And when He declares a thing, that word is final. No force in the heavens or on the earth can cancel what God has ordained. What He opens, no one can shut. And what He shuts, no one can force open. But His opportunities are not random. They are righteous. They're not driven by luck. They're governed by alignment. Let the applause of men become meaningless compared to the whisper of, for when God speaks, mountains move. Rivers part, and nations are shifted. And when He speaks into your life, everything changes. But you must be ready to receive that change, not just with open hands, but with a surrendered life. The greatest tragedy is not that people miss God's opportunity. The tragedy is that they were unprepared when it finally came. They were distracted by bitterness, consumed by comparison, paralyzed by fear, or intoxicated by worldly ambition. Their hands were too full of the unnecessary to hold the sacred. And so God had to pass them by, not because He loved them less, but because they were not in position. They had no oil in their lamps. Their hearts had grown dull. Their ears could no longer hear. Their spirits had fallen asleep while waiting. But you, if you are listening now, it is not too late. You can still wake up. You can still prepare. You can still shake the dust off your faith. Stretch your hands toward heaven and say, God, make me ready. Strip away what I don't need. Remove what is in the way. Strengthen what is weak in me. Give me endurance. Give me vision. Give me the discipline to finish what I started. That prayer, when spoken from a sincere heart, shakes the heaven. It stirs the atmosphere because God responds to hunger. He answers desperation. He draws near to the broken and builds His glory upon those who are willing to decrease, so He may increase. The opportunity that is coming will not just bless you. It will require more of you. It will not just open doors, it will stretch your capacity. It will not just elevate your name, it will test your integrity. And the question is, can you be trusted with what you've been praying for? Can you handle influence without losing humility? Can you walk in favor without forgetting the one who gave it? Can you stand in the spotlight and still seek the secret place where your soul was forged in silence? That is why God prepares you in hiding. That is why he delays the platform so that the private man is strong enough to carry the weight of the public calling. You don't prepare after the door opens. You prepare now. You discipline your thoughts now. You consecrate your time now. You guard your tongue now. You cleanse your motives now. Because when the opportunity comes, it will demand a version of you that can only be shaped in obedience. And obedience is not always glamorous. It is often painful. It will ask you to say no when everything in you wants to say yes. It will require separation from comfort, confrontation with truth, and commitment to walk away from what once fed your ego. But what God is preparing will far outweigh what you're giving up now. The pain of preparation will be forgotten in the joy of fulfillment. Do not chase opportunity, chase obedience. Do not seek the next big thing. Seek the next faithful step. God knows how to find you. He knows your name, your tears, your prayers, your sacrifice. He has not lost sight of your struggle. He has not ignored your midnight cry. He has counted every seed you've sown in secret. And he is faithful to reward those who do not give up when everything in them wants to quit. Your reward will not be delayed a moment longer than necessary. When the time is right, God will act. Not a second too early, not a second too late, but right on time. So stand tall even if you feel broken. Walk forward even if the path seems uncertain. Lift your head even if the weight is heavy, because God is not finished with you. He's just getting started. The pressure you feel is not the end. It is the contraction before birth. Something is about to be released in your life that will shift your story forever, but it will not happen by accident. It will happen because you stayed faithful, stayed awake, stayed obedient even when no one saw you but God. This is your season of divine alignment. This is the time to sharpen your discernment, to protect your peace, to silence every voice that does not lead you to truth, to invest in what feeds your spirit, to remove yourself from anything that poisons your purpose. Because when God opens the door, you don't want to be dragging unnecessary baggage. You don't want to be held back by soul ties, by bitterness, by regret. You want to be light enough to run through that door. You want to be strong enough to carry what's waiting on the other side. And when it comes, don't hesitate. Don't question if you're worthy. Don't shrink back in fear. Remember the fire you've walked through. Remember the nights you stayed on your knees. Remember the tests you passed when no one was watching. God saw it all. And this moment is his response. This opportunity is heaven's answer. It's not a coincidence. It's not a lucky break. It is the manifestation of divine timing met with a ready soul. The moment is coming when God will test the weight of your preparation. And on that day, you won't have time to rehearse faith. You'll need to walk in it. You won't have time to build discipline. You'll have to lean on it. The opportunity God is about to present will separate the spectators from the servants. It will distinguish those who are curious from those who are committed. God is not looking for crowds. He is looking for covenant. He is searching for those who didn't just talk about surrender, but lived it in the silence of obscurity. Many have been hidden in this season, not because they were forgotten, but because they were being forged. God hides what he values. Just as gold is buried deep beneath the surface and diamonds are formed in pressure, so too are the most powerful vessels of God developed in private. What looks like isolation is divine incubation. What feels like silence is sacred instruction. God is teaching you how to rely on him when there's no applause, how to trust him when there's no evidence, how to obey him when there's no visible reward. Because that's where the true foundation is laid. Not in the light, but in the shadows where only God sees. Because the higher God takes you, the more exposed you become. And if your roots are shallow, the winds of promotion will destroy you instead of elevate you. But if your roots are deep, deep in prayer, deep in truth, deep in humility, then when the door opens, you will not just survive, you will thrive. Understand this. God is not sending you an opportunity to inflate your ego. He is entrusting you with influence to reflect his glory. He is calling you higher, not so you can sit above others, but so you can serve with greater reach and greater impact. And the higher the calling, the deeper the preparation. God will not allow you to skip steps. He will not allow shortcuts. What he's building in you is not fragile, and eternal things require eternal focus. Some of you are wondering why the breakthrough hasn't come yet. You're asking why the door remains shut. But have you examined your heart? Have you purged the pride, the bitterness, the fear, the secret habits that poison your spirit? Because God's opportunity is holy, and he will not place what is sacred into hands that are stained by disobedience. He loves you too much to give you something prematurely. He knows what you can carry. He knows when you are ready, and when you align with his timing, nothing can stop what he has ordained. So let this season be a furnace. Let it refine you. Let it humble you. Let it strip away everything that cannot go with you into the next chapter. Your comfort cannot follow you there. Your old identity must die. Your reliance on man must crumble. Because where God is taking you, he alone must be your source, your guide, your sustainer. The path forward will not be built by popularity, nor paved by applause. It will be carved by faith, pressed by sacrifice, and sealed by obedience. The opportunity God has planned will not look like what you expected. It may come disguised as a challenge. It may be wrapped in responsibility. It may look like a burden before it reveals itself as a blessing. But that is how God works. He tests the heart before he reveals the purpose. He hides the treasure inside the task. He places miracles inside moments that others overlook. And only those who are spiritually awake, alert, and aligned will recognize what others will miss. You must keep your oil full. Keep your faith strong. Keep your conscience clean. Do not let the world wear you down or dilute your fire. Do not allow your surroundings to dictate your spiritual temperature. The world may be cold, but you must stay burning with purpose. God did not light your soul to flicker. He lit it to blaze. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise above, to carry the weight of his message, to manifest his wisdom in a generation that is searching for truth. God sees you, and your moment is closer than you think. So rise even if you feel unqualified. Stand even if your legs are trembling. Obey even if you don't understand every step. Because when God says it's time, no man can stop what he sets in motion. And if you've been faithful in the silence, you'll be fruitful in the spotlight. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something sacred, something supernatural, something that will echo beyond this life and into eternity. God's greatest opportunity is not a myth, not a fantasy, not a distant dream. It's real, it's coming, and it's yours to receive if you are prepared. Higher the calling, the deeper the preparation. God will not allow you to skip steps. He will not allow short. You're asking why the door remains shut. But have you examined your heart? Have you purged the pride, the bitterness, the fear, the secret habits that poison your spirit? Because God's opportunity is holy, and he will not place what is sacred into hands that are stained by disobedience. He loves you too much to give you something prematurely. He knows what you can carry. He knows when you are ready. And when you align with his timing, nothing can stop what he has ordained. So let this season be a furnace. Let it refine you. Let it humble you. Let it strip away everything that cannot go with you into the next chapter. Your comfort cannot follow you there. Your old identity must die. Your reliance on man must crumble. Because where God is taking you, he alone must be your source, your guide, your sustainer. The path forward will not be built by popularity, nor paved by applause. It will be carved by faith, pressed by sacrifice, and sealed by obedience. The opportunity God has planned will not look like what you expected. It may come disguised as a challenge. It may be wrapped in responsibility. It may look like a burden before it reveals itself as a blessing. But that is how God works. He tests the heart before he reveals the purpose. He hides the treasure inside the task. He places miracles inside moments that others overlook. And only those who are spiritually awake, alert, and aligned will recognize what others will miss. You must keep your oil full, keep your faith strong, keep your conscience clean. Do not let the world wear you down or dilute your fire. Do not allow your surroundings to dictate your spiritual temperature. The world may be cold, but you must stay burning with purpose. God did not light your soul to flicker. He lit it to blaze. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise above, to carry the weight of his message, to manifest his wisdom in a generation that is searching for truth. And when the moment comes, and it will come like a sudden wind, those who are ready will rise without hesitation. They will move with clarity, speak with authority, and walk with power. They will not second-guess their purpose, because they've been living it all along. They've been in the fields long before the crowds, long before the lights, tending to obedience in obscurity, plowing the soil of their soul in silence. They've been on their knees, not for attention, but because they know where true strength is born. They've been purging pride, sifting their motives, yielding to the slow, sacred process of alignment with heaven's timing. That's who God will use. Not the loudest voice in the room, not the one with the biggest platform, not the one whose name trends, but the one whose heart bends, the one who's been crushed and still chose to worship, the one who laid down comfort for calling, the one who has learned to bleed in private and still bless in public, the prepared, the broken, the surrendered. The one who walked through fire and didn't lose their faith. The one who chose the narrow road when the wide one was easier. The one who said yes when no would have been safer. God sees you and your moment. It's closer than you know. So rise even if insecurity whispers you're not ready. Stand even if everything inside you trembles. Obey even if clarity hasn't yet come. Because when God says it's time, no man, no system, no past, and no failure can stop what heaven has scheduled. If you've been faithful in the quiet place, you're about to be fruitful in the visible one. This is not your finish line. This is your release point. The beginning of something holy, something weighty, something eternal. God's greatest opportunity for your life is not fiction. It's not fantasy. It's not far away. It's real. It's near. And it's yours if you're prepared to carry it. When the voices you once leaned on go silent, when your tears come with no explanation, and hope feels like a stranger who's walked away without warning. You've prayed, you've pleaded, you've tried everything within your human ability. And yet the mountain hasn't moved. The situation hasn't shifted. But I've come to tell you something today. Not from my strength, but from the unshakable truth of God's word. Trust Him. God will fix it. You see, the battle you're facing is not evidence of His absence. The silence you feel is not abandonment. It is preparation. It is the quiet construction of something greater than your mind can comprehend. Sometimes when God is moving, it feels like He's gone quiet. Sometimes when He's working behind the curtain, it feels like the stage of your life is empty. But hear this clearly. The silence of God is never the stillness of God. Real trust doesn't begin when the sun is shining. It begins when the night refuses to end. It begins when logic fails, when your strength wanes, when your soul says, I can't see the path. And right there, right in that moment of darkness, that's where you rise and say, God, I still trust you. You may be in the storm right now. The winds may howl. The waves may crash. You may feel like you have nothing left. But remember this eternal truth. Storms don't drive God away. They draw Him near. They don't cancel His presence. They reveal it. You don't need a sign to know He's working. You don't need an explanation to know He's moving. You just need to trust the who. And that who is the Almighty God. Unshaken, unchanging, all-knowing, all-powerful, and always faithful. So stand still in your storm. Lift your eyes and hold this truth close. God is already fixing what you cannot see. God sees what you're going through. God knows the private pain that others can't see. The disappointments that broke your spirit. The betrayal that left you bleeding. The prayers you whispered at 3 a.m. when the world was asleep and your soul was screaming. Yes, God saw it all. Not a tear fell from your eye that escaped His sight. Not a single sigh went unnoticed. And if you trust Him, if you hold on, if you refuse to give up, God will take the very thing that was meant to destroy you and use it to build you. There is no situation too broken for God to fix. There is no wound too deep, no mess too great, no sin too dark, no past too stained. You are not beyond His reach. You are not beyond repair. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. God is the master of restoration. He is the healer of shattered hearts. He is the lifter of the downtrodden. He is the way maker in the wilderness, the light in the darkness, the voice in the silence. Sometimes God will allow everything around you to fall apart so that you have nothing left to lean on but Him. Sometimes He will strip away every false comfort, every fake support, every illusion of control just so that your trust is in nothing else but in Him, not in people, not in money, not in your own strength, but in God and God alone. Because what God is about to build in your life requires a new foundation, one that is not made of sand but of solid, unwavering trust. I know it's hard. I know your heart is tired. I know you've been waiting, praying, weeping, but God God is not late. He's never late. His timing is perfect. And while you're waiting, He's working behind the scenes in ways you can't see. God is aligning every piece. He is orchestrating the outcome. But only if you trust Him. You must trust Him when the prayers seem unanswered. You must trust Him when your strength is gone. You must trust Him when others mock your faith and say, "Where is your God now?" You must trust Him when your own voice trembles with fear. It is a decision. It is a declaration in the face of despair that says, even if I can't see the way, I know God has won. Even if I don't feel it, I know God is here. Even if everything is falling apart, I will not let go of God's hand. Because when you trust God, you are putting your life in the hands of the one who holds the universe. You are placing your burden in the arms of the one who cannot fail. You are depending on the faithfulness of the one who kept you through every night you thought you wouldn't survive. And that same God who carried you through yesterday will carry you through today and tomorrow and every day after that. Don't confuse delay with denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God's promises are not empty. His word does not return void. When God says He will fix it, He will. Not in your way, not in your time, but in the perfect time and in the most powerful way. What you see as a setback, God sees as a setup. What looks like rejection is often redirection. What feels like a breaking is actually a birthing. And let me tell you, when God fixes it, He leaves no scar that hinders. He heals completely. He restores fully. He redeems totally. He doesn't patch things up. He makes all things new. He doesn't offer temporary relief. He brings permanent deliverance. But you must stop trying to control it. Stop trying to manipulate the outcome. Stop trying to rush the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the waiting. Trust the silence. Trust the tears. Trust. God does not need your help to perform His will. He needs your surrender. He needs your faith. He needs you to say, even if nothing changes today, I will still believe. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of trust opens the heavens. That kind of surrender brings peace in the storm. And when God brings you out, and He will, you won't even look like what you've been through. People will look at you and wonder how you made it. They will ask you what your secret was. And you will say it was God. Not luck, not connections, not effort, not intellect, but God only. So today, bury the fear, bury the doubt, bury the anxiety, and rise with trust. Rise with faith. Rise with a quiet confidence that says God is fixing it even now. Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. Don't walk away when you're one step from the breakthrough. Don't let the enemy steal what God is about to release. Stand still and trust God. No matter how impossible your situation looks, God is greater. No matter how long it's been, God is still able. No matter how heavy the burden, God can carry it. No matter how dark the night, God brings the dawn. Even now when you feel forgotten, God is calling your name. Even now when the night is long, God is preparing the sunrise. Even now when your faith is faint, God is faithful. And let me tell you, the weight you carry today is not meant to crush you. It is meant to press you into deeper dependence on God. Sometimes the heaviest burdens are placed upon the strongest shoulders, not because God wants you to suffer, but because He is building something eternal within you. You may not feel strong, but God knows the power He placed in you. You may feel like giving up, but God is not finished. He allows trials not to harm you, but to train you, to forge you in the fire until you shine with unshakable faith. Trust God, because what you think is a delay might actually be divine preparation. There is a reason you didn't break when others did. There is a reason you're still standing after the storm. There is a reason your heart still believes, even with cracks in it. It's not because of your strength, it's because God is holding you up. You might have lost some things, some people, some opportunities, but you didn't lose God. And when you still have God, you still have everything. The presence of God is not always loud. He doesn't always come with lightning and thunder. Sometimes it's a whisper in the storm, a stillness in the chaos, a peace that defies reason. And when you lean into that presence, when you trust even in the quiet, God begins to move in ways the world cannot understand. God knows how to turn ashes into beauty, how to turn mourning into joy, how to bring hope out of hopelessness. There is no human explanation for the way God works. It's divine, it's beyond reason. When you trust God, you don't need to have all the answers. You only need one assurance: God is in control. Not a single moment of your suffering is wasted. Not one trial is meaningless. God uses everything. The hurt, the delay, the silence, the waiting, all of it is part of His plan to strengthen your soul and position your life for a blessing that no one can stop. Some of you are in a place right now where it feels like everything is dried up. The people you counted on are gone. The doors you knocked on have closed. The opportunities you once dreamed of have vanished. But listen, sometimes God allows the river to dry up so He can lead you to a better one. Sometimes He takes you out of familiar places so He can reveal unfamiliar favor. If your heart is broken today, it does not mean your story is over. It means God is about to write a new chapter. You do not have to understand the process to trust the purpose. God is too wise to make a mistake, too loving to be cruel, too powerful to be limited by your circumstances. And when God is silent, it is never because He has forgotten you. It's because He is crafting something so extraordinary, so tailor-made, so glorious that it requires divine timing and precise alignment. Trust Him. He is not working on a small solution. He is building something eternal. God is not only able to fix your situation, but He is also able to fix your vision. You see, the enemy wants you to focus only on what's missing, what's broken, what's wrong. But God wants to shift your focus to what's possible, what's growing, what's coming. When you begin to trust God, your eyes open to divine perspective. You stop magnifying the problem and you start magnifying the one who can solve it. You stop panicking and you start praying. You stop doubting and you start declaring, my situation is not bigger than my God. There is a peace that comes when you place your full trust in God. A peace that cannot be stolen by the chaos around you. That peace is not dependent on your situation changing. That peace comes when you change, when your soul anchors itself in the unchanging nature of God. God does not fluctuate with your emotions. God does not move based on public opinion. God is steady. He is constant. And when you build your trust on that rock, nothing can shake you. Let this be your declaration. I will trust God when the path is clear, and I will trust God when the way is hidden. I will trust God when the blessing is visible, and I will trust God when all I see is the burden. I will trust Him when the doors swing open, and I will trust Him when I hear silence, because I believe that even in the silence, even in the shadows, even in the struggle, God is still speaking. God is still guiding. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in your life will come after your greatest battle. Some of the deepest wisdom you'll ever receive will come through the pain you didn't want to experience. And some of the closest encounters with God will happen when you are at your lowest, your weakest, your most fragile point. Because in those moments, you stop pretending and you start depending. In those moments, your prayers are raw, your heart is open, and your spirit is ready. And God meets you there right in the ashes and begins to rebuild your life with divine hand. So do not despise the season you're in. Do not curse the pain. Do not run from the trial. Let it draw you closer to God. Let it teach you to let go of what you cannot control and grab hold of the one who controls everything. Let it purify your faith. Let it refine your trust. Because on the other side of this mountain, on the other side of this storm, is a testimony that will shake the gates of despair. So keep trusting, keep hoping, keep holding on to that quiet voice within that says God is still in control. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are not the victim of randomness. Your life is under the authority of the Most High. And when you live in that truth, when you root yourself in that power, your soul will no longer be shaken by storm. Because your trust is not in outcomes, your trust is in God. And God, my friend, never fails. And I say to you now with every fiber of urgency and clarity, stop pacing, stop doubting, stop trying to force open doors that God has kept shut for your protection. God does not need your panic. God needs your surrender. When your back is against the wall, when the clock is ticking, when everyone walks away and the lights go dim, those are not signs that God has left you. Those are signs that He is about to step in and do what no man can do. You may be in the middle of a divine pause, a sacred moment where God is testing not just your patience but your position. Are you positioned in trust or trembling in fear? You must understand this. There is a difference between believing in God and trusting God. Belief is the acknowledgement of His existence, but trust is the confidence in His decisions. Trust says, even if I don't like the way this looks, I believe God sees a bigger picture. Trust says, even though I prayed and it hasn't happened yet, I will still bow my heart and say, your will, not mine. Trust is the highest form of worship because it declares that God is wiser than your worry, stronger than your struggle, and more faithful than your fear. Let it break the chains of worry. Let it silence the lies that have been shouting in your ear. You don't need to know the why when you trust the who behind it all. God doesn't just want your praise when things are good. He wants your trust when things are uncertain. That's when real faith is born. That strength is not of this world. It's not from motivational books or feel-good speeches. It comes from knowing God personally, from walking with Him in the valley and trusting that the same God who is with you on the mountain still walks beside you in the low place. So don't envy those who seem to be ahead of you. Don't compare your journey to others. Trust that God is writing your story and every chapter has purpose. Some chapters may feel heavy, some seasons may stretch you beyond your limits, but nothing is wasted. Every tear you cry is counted. Every battle you fight is recorded. Every moment of trust, even when your hands are trembling, is precious to God. And at the right time, not your time, but the right time, God will show up. And when he shows up, things shift. The pain you're in now could be the birthplace of your greatest transformation. The struggle you're facing now might be the stage upon which God displays his power. The door that closed may have been the mercy of God saving you from something that looked good, but would have taken you off course. This is why you must trust him. Not only for what he gives, but for what he withholds. Not only for what he opens, but for what he closes. Not only for the miracles, but for the moments when nothing makes sense. And hear this, when God fixes your situation, he will do it in such a way that no one else gets the credit. No name will be praised but his. No explanation will satisfy, but God did it. And that's how he works, so that you know without a shadow of a doubt that it was not your wisdom, not your effort, not your charm or talent, but the sheer power and grace of God that brought you through. So lift your head, straighten your back, wipe your tears. You are not defeated. You are not alone. You are not without hope. God is not done with you. You may be in the middle of your storm, but you are also in the middle of his plan. And his plans never fail. He is the architect of your destiny, the defender of your soul, the provider of your needs, and the answerer of your secret prayer. Trust him not only to fix what's broken, but to renew what's weary, to restore what's lost, and to revive what feels dead. You are closer than you think, closer to the breakthrough, closer to the release, closer to the peace you've been seeking. But don't abort the process. Don't leave the waiting room. Don't rush what God is still refining. Diamonds are made under pressure. Gold is purified through fire, and your faith is being perfected on us in this exact moment. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's hard, but it is holy. It is part of something greater than you can yet see. Let your trust in God be louder than your fear. Let your hope rise, even when everything tells you to give up. Speak to your soul. Tell it to trust, to wait, to believe. Let your mind be still and your spirit be anchored. Because no matter what comes against you, no matter what storms rage around you, no matter how long the night has been, morning will come. Not because of chance, not because of fate. Trust him because he hears what you don't. Trust him because he loves you more deeply than anyone ever could. And trust him above all because he alone holds the power to take your broken pieces and build something beautiful that will not only bless you, but generations after you. There is a holy strength that rises within a soul that dares to trust God in the midst of uncertainty. It is not the strength of the flesh, not the pride of intellect, not the boasting of worldly wisdom. It is the quiet, unshakable power of a heart anchored in the truth that God never fails. That kind of trust does not need a guarantee. It does not demand a sign. It simply rests in the assurance that God is who he says he is, and he will do what he has promised to do. When you trust God, you are standing on sacred ground. You are declaring war against doubt. You are silencing the lies that have tried to define your destiny. You are saying to every fear, every worry, every whisper of despair, You do not have the final word. God does. Trust is not passive. It is a weapon. It's a spiritual fire that consumes fear and lights the path forward when everything around you is dark. Let me tell you something the enemy never wants you to realize. The moment you choose to trust God completely is the moment hell begins to tremble, because trust invites divine intervention. Trust calls down the help of heaven. Trust releases the hand of God to move freely without limitation, without resistance. That is why the battle for your trust is so intense. That's why the trials are so relentless. Because if you ever truly believe that God will fix your situation, if you ever truly rest in that truth, you become unstoppable. You must decide today, will you live by what you feel or by what you know? Feelings are unstable. They change with the wind. But truth, God's truth, remains unshaken. And the truth is this: God sees your pain. God knows your need. God is not confused about your future. And He is not intimidated by your problem. You may feel like your life is too tangled, too broken, too far gone. But to God nothing is too hard. He does not ask how deep the pit is before reaching down. He simply reaches. Some of the most powerful miracles begin in the places we want to escape. That sickness, that failure, that heartbreak. It may be the very soil where your purpose is about to grow. Don't despise the soil. Don't curse the darkness. Because beneath the surface God is planting something eternal. He is cultivating strength, character, wisdom, and discernment. When He fixes something, He restores the years the pain has stolen. He returns peace that surpasses understanding. He removes joy that you thought was lost forever. He rebuilds in such a way that when people look at your life, they won't even recognize the ashes. But it begins with trust. Not occasional trust, not convenient trust, relentless, unwavering trust. The kind of trust that says, I will not move until God moves. I will not make decisions out of fear. I will not compromise my values just to get ahead. I will not look for shortcuts. I will wait even if it takes longer than I planned. I will trust God because He is faithful. Too many give up right before the breakthrough. Too many walk away when they are one prayer away from their answer. Don't let that be you. Don't allow the delay to deceive you. Don't confuse silence with absence. God is closer than you think. And what you've been praying for may already be on its way. Keep pressing, keep standing, keep trusting. Because the moment you feel the weakest may be the very moment the shift begins. And when God moves, when He finally steps in, it won't be subtle. It won't be small, it will be undeniable. He will silence every voice that doubted you. He will turn every weapon that was formed against you into a testimony. He will cause those who watched your pain to witness your promotion. And He will do it not because you deserved it, not because you were perfect, but because you trusted Him in the dark. Trust is the seed. And once it's planted, it grows roots that anchor your life, not in the shallow soil of opinion or circumstance, but in the deep truth of who God is. And when the winds blow and the rain falls and the world shakes, you will stand, because your trust is not in the seen but in the unseen, not in what changes but in what never changes, not in man, not in systems, not in resources, but in the living, eternal, unchanging power of God alone. So today choose to trust, even if everything says not to, even if every voice around you tells you to quit, even if your own mind is tired of waiting. Trust, because when you do, you activate the very power that holds the stars in place. You connect your life to the infinite wisdom and mercy of the one who knows the end from the beginning. And when your situation is fixed, and it will be, you will look back and say, it was worth it. Every tear, every trial, every test, it was all worth it because God was in it. And if He was in it, then nothing was wasted. Nothing was random, nothing was overlooked. Trust God. He has already written the end of your story, and it ends in victory. Not because of who you are, but because of who He is. There are moments when life feels like it's unraveling at the seams, when all you've built is collapsing, when the people you counted on have vanished, when even the strength to pray feels beyond you. But listen to this truth that burns with eternal fire. God is never confused. God is never overwhelmed. God is never late. And even when you are surrounded by darkness, when your voice is far from calling out, when your hands are empty and your soul is tired, God is still sovereign. His plan for your life is not diminished by the pain you are in. His promises are not forgotten just because the road has been long. Let your soul grasp this. The waiting is not wasted. That season where you feel unseen, overlooked, and forgotten, God is using it. He is shaping you, molding your character, stripping away what cannot stay in the next season. You may not see the outcome, but He sees the full picture. God's wisdom operates on an eternal timeline, not a temporary one. And if you could only see what He's sparing you from, if you could only glimpse what He's preparing for you, you'd praise Him even in the pain. And sometimes God won't remove the situation immediately. Not because He doesn't care, but because He is drawing out a deeper faith from within you. Faith that isn't dependent on comfort. Faith that doesn't rely on results. Faith that clings to God simply because He is God. That's the kind of trust that causes the unseen to shake. That's the kind of trust that invites miracles not only around you but within you. It transforms how you walk, how you speak, how you think. When you trust God like that, even your silence becomes a weapon. Even your stillness becomes powerful because God honors those who trust Him in secret long before the breakthrough comes. Do not seek a temporary escape. Seek a permanent transformation. Because when God fixes your situation, it will not only relieve the pressure, it will reveal a purpose, a deeper reason, a divine strategy that you could never have mapped out on your own. You are not just surviving this season. God is strengthening you for what's next. He is positioning you for influence, preparing you for greater responsibility. But He must know that you trust Him before the blessing. Anyone can trust when the cup is full, but who will trust when it's empty? Who will trust when the brook dries up? When the harvest delays, when the skies don't shift? That's where the real proving happens. That's where your soul either clings to God or collapses into fear. And if you choose to cling, if you choose to lift your voice and say, God, I don't understand, but I believe you, then that trust becomes the altar where divine strength is poured out. God does not ignore trust. He does not bypass faith. When He sees it pure, unwavering, surrendered, He moves not always instantly and maturely, always in the right way, always at the right time. God does not fix your situation by human logic. He does it His way. And that's why you cannot rely on what you see. You cannot trust your eyes more than your spirit. Your eyes will lie to you. They will show you failure and say it is final. They will show you delays and call them denials. But your spirit, if it is grounded in trust, will tell you, God is not finished. This is not the end. Something greater is being written. You may feel surrounded right now. Pressure coming from all sides. Financial, emotional, spiritual. But pressure is not always the sign of defeat. Sometimes pressure is proof that you're on the edge of something divine. When God is about to bring forth something powerful through your life, there will be resistance. That pressure is not to break you, but to birth something through you. New levels of endurance, new realms of insight, new waves of blessing. But trust must be the key that unlocks it all. Let your thoughts be captive to God's truth. Don't let fear build strongholds in your mind. Don't let the enemy rewrite your narrative with despair. Every time you feel the weight of doubt, respond with trust. Say out loud, God is in control. God knows what he's doing. God has not brought me this far to abandon me. Now say it even when you don't feel it. Especially when you don't feel it. Because your words of trust are seeds. They grow, they take root. They create a garden of peace in the wilderness of confusion. And here is something else you must remember. God does not just repair situations. He resurrects what is dead. He brings dry bones to life. He speaks where there was silence and causes things to move. When God speaks over your situation, it doesn't matter how lifeless it looks. It doesn't matter how far gone it feels. If God decides to move, not even the gates of hardship can keep it from coming to pass. You may be rejected by men, but chosen by God. And the one who chooses you is greater than the world that misunderstood you. When the pressure increases, lean in not to worry. I'm but to God. When the timeline stretches longer than expected, hold on not to panic but to trust. When the enemy whispers that you are forgotten, lift your voice and declare, God knows me, God sees me, God is with me. Speak life where others speak loss. Speak peace where others expect panic. And as you trust God through the unknown, you will feel a shift. Maybe not around you at first, but within you. A peace of God will flood your soul. The fear will lose its grip. The confusion will start to clear, because trust doesn't just change outcomes, it changes you. And when God does what only he can do, and he will, it will be undeniable. The kind of shift that leaves no room for chance, no space for coincidence. People will ask how it happened, and your only answer will be, it was God. Because only God could have restored what was lost. Only God could have redeemed the years. Only God could have opened doors no man could shut. And he did it not just because you prayed, but because you trusted. So walk forward, not in fear, but in expectation. Expect that God is working even in the silence. Expect that he is fighting battles you cannot see. Expect that he is weaving together every piece of your life into a tapestry of victory. Don't let today's struggle blur tomorrow's promise. Fix your gaze not on what is shaking, but on the one who cannot be shaken. Trust God, and he will fix your situation. Not only in the way you desire, but in the way he knows is best. Because he is not just working to change your surroundings, he is working to change your soul. And when he is finished, you won't just come out of the fire. You'll come out refined, restored, renewed, and stronger than you've ever been before. Keep trusting, keep standing. The hand of God is upon your life, and nothing can stop what he has set in motion. So now I say to every heart that is listening, stand up within your soul. Rise not with the strength of man, but with the power of faith. Shake off the dust of doubt. Cast away the garments of fear. You were not created to live in despair. You were not formed from the dust to walk defeated. You were shaped by the will of the Almighty, destined for divine purpose, carved out of eternity by the hands of God himself. And if that God who split the seas, who commands the winds, who names every star, if that God is with you, then who or what can truly stand against you? Let this be the moment where your soul shifts, where your tears turn into fuel, where your silence becomes sacred strength, where your pain transforms into purpose. Whatever you've been carrying, lay it at the feet of God. The weight, the worry, the regrets, the questions, release it all. God does not need your perfection. He desires your surrender. He does not require your explanation. He waits for your trust. And when you finally let go and give it fully to Him, the heavens begin to move on your behalf. Search your heart. Look deep within. What are you still holding on to that God is asking you to release? What part of your life are you trying to control, fix, or force? Let it go. Trust does not mean you stop trying. It means you stop trying alone. Invite God into the middle of your mess. Let Him take the wheel. Let Him shape the outcome. Let Him carry the burden. You've been walking in your strength long enough. Now walk in His. Let every breath you take from this moment forward be a declaration. I trust God. I trust God when it's dark. I trust God when it's silent. I trust God when nothing makes sense. I trust that He is working behind every delay, weaving purpose through every setback, writing redemption into every broken chapter. Even when I don't feel it, God is near. Even when I can't see it, God is guiding. Even when I'm weak, God is strong. Let the fire in your heart be reignited. Let the doubts melt away under the weight of truth. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You're held, led, known, and chosen. And the same God who began the work in you, He will finish it. Not partially, not halfway, not in scattered pieces or unfinished chapters, but in full, perfect, glorious completion. Because our God does not start what He cannot sustain. He does not speak promises He will not fulfill. So take this very moment, this sacred pause in time, and make it holy. Let your heart whisper the things your mouth is too weary to speak. Let your tears carry the weight of your surrender. Let your silence become a sanctuary where God meets you. And in that surrender, feel the shift, feel the freedom, feel the peace that makes no earthly sense. That is the presence of God. That is the gift of trust. That is the evidence of grace. Now walk forward from this moment, not with pride in your own strength, but with confidence in the one who carries you. Let your life become a living testimony, a vessel of fearless obedience, a radiant light in the shadows of this world. And when the questions come, when they ask how you endured the fire, how you stood through the storm, how you kept going when everything said stop, let your answer be simple. Let it be clear. Let it be powerful, because I trusted God. That is your calling. That is your anchor. That is your legacy. So trust Him with all of it. With the seen and the unseen. With the answered and the still waiting. And watch what only God can do.